J.R. Shepard laid claim to his 13th career win in the Grand National Division last week at Southern National Raceway Park. But now we will find out if 13 is the unlucky number as we head north to the Circle City and Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis. Also the home of the NHRA's U.S. Nationals, the Cars and Stars of the Bootleg Racing League will do battle here at the Crossroads of America. And you will see it all here live on the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Chris Phobie, and joining me tonight will be Jeff Smith. At the control center is our director, Sean Ambrose, and he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Lucas Oil Raceway is a track that takes a lot of finesse and patience to master, but you at home are going to get the crash course, courtesy of our virtual lap here at the legendary short track here in the Indianapolis hallowed grounds. And one thing I do want to call your attention to as we take a look at this overhead, check out that cool drag strip that iRacing was able to get in. That is the home of the U.S. Nationals, and we're going to now scooch over to our virtual lap.
Lucas Oil Raceway, formerly known as Indianapolis Raceway Park, sits about a 7-mile drive up Crawfordsville Road from the legendary Brickyard. The list of names that have run here since the oval track opened in 1961 is about as long and distinguished as the names that adorn the Borg Warner Trophy. Lucas Oil Raceway was a stepping stone, a building block, to get a chance to taste that milk in Victory Lane at IMS. But don't let that fool you. The racing here can be just as intense. The 12 degrees of banking, the shape of the turns, mean that this 0.69-mile short track is one of those that the High Line became famous at. The long way around is the fast way at Lucas Oil Raceway. As what happened to the big house down the street, stock cars became more prevalent in the 1990s. NASCAR Grand National and trucks made regular stops here the weekend of the 400 well into the 2000s. But stock cars have waned in recent years, with now only ARCA being the main stock car show at the Speedway. Now, into the 2020s, we at GSRC echo the legendary Dave Despain on ESPN that turned the spotlight on Midwest open wheel racing, and we get ready to call this race at Lucas Oil Raceway.
We're back here at Lucas Oil Raceway live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel for the Bootleg Racing League. And I'm going to bring in my co-commentator tonight, Jeff Smith, to talk about one of the coolest racetracks in North America.
Yeah, this is a home track for me. It is a little over a half mile, 12-degree banking. And this thing, it's a different monster. As you heard in the track guide, the top line is the fast line here. And Chris, I've ran these cars here, and you have it's a fine line between fast and wall. It's a lot like Darlington. You're going to kiss that wall a few times, and it's just a matter of seconds before you do that.
That is very true. And one of those drivers that hopefully won't be kissing the wall tonight is John Hine, driver the 71 car. He's going to be stepping in to join us here in just a moment. Well, John, thanks for taking the time to meet with us today. And from what we've heard, you're taking on a bit of a new role tonight as far as the Bootleg Racing League goes. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I'm stepping out of the seat tonight. I'm going to take over race control duties, basically to kind of give Lowell a spell where he can concentrate on driving his car. Difficult when you're trying to clear black flags and pile into one on a restart and things like that. So I already do that a little bit on Friday nights with the street stocks. So, I can not only help him, but I can also help these guys out too. The plan is, be able to call where there's trouble so people can get on the brakes so you don't see guys piling in and things like that. So hopefully it kind of works out for everybody.
Now, John, you're going to kind of be the law here tonight. From what I read on your driver bio, you're not too unfamiliar with that. Could you tell us a little bit about that day job that you have? It seems a little interesting.
Yes, international law. Far cry from dishing out law and order on a racetrack, but yeah, pay attention to things like law of the seas treaties and stuff like that, and then the legality of things like that. It gets kind of dry and kind of boring, I guess. But I'm kind of a history nerd, so I kind of love it.
So you throw a chrome horn at Magna Carta or something like that?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, you also have a lot of real-world experience behind the wheel of a race car, too. Can you fill us in a little bit about your history behind the wheel?
Yeah, I drove dirt late models and wing sprint cars for well over 20 years, I think, combined, and won a few races and then had a good time doing that. Get a little older, have some kids, got to slow down, so to speak. But yeah, it's funny how this simulation translates over to the real world stuff, especially the stuff that you do in the car with your feet. The braking, the gas, and having to manage the throttle and your pedals and stuff like that. It is dead on, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've heard in those dirt sprint cars, you spend half the time with your eyes closed, which sounds pretty believable because those things can be scary fast. Now that you're taking on the role of race director, what are some of the things you're going to be keeping an eye out for here at Lucas Oil Raceway?
Well, things happen fast here, and the corners are so long, and these cars are really difficult to see through. So I'm going to really try to help these guys out. If towards the front of the pack or something, guys get together, start to spin, I can call, trouble, crash, turn 2, and that'll give the guys in the back that can't see what's going on, 8 cars ahead of them, to get out of the binder, so you don't see the big. Hopefully, theory works. You won't see a big accident where you got 15 guys all piled into one.
Very cool. Well, John, gonna see Jeff. Do you have any questions for John here tonight?
Not tonight, buddy. Just get these guys through them wrecks, and hopefully it's a fast, fun night.
Absolutely. Can I give one shout out to our sponsor, the cruise shop? I know things are, the world's kind of feels like it's falling apart at the seams, but vacation destinations and cruise lines are taking reservations for well into next year. My wife and I, we just booked a Scandinavian cruise. We're going to go to Russia, Germany, Finland, and we got this cruise for next to nothing. So if there's trips that you ever wanted to do and, the price tag's too high, give her a call and tell her what you might want to do. We got this thing for little to nothing, and it'd be nice to support our sponsor at the cruise shop.
Yeah, definitely. And we appreciate you giving them the plug as, those who support the series indirectly support us and keep this whole racing thing going during these hard times. So John, we're gonna let you go get settled in up in the crow's nest, so to speak, watching over these guys, and best of luck calling this one.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for everything you guys do. You guys great broadcast.
Well, we appreciate that. Thanks again, John. That was John Hine, was driver of the number 71, going to be our race director here for the next few races. And speaking of directing the race, we have our point standings. J.R. Shepard is directing the lead so far, looking for his second straight championship as he rides a streak of 3 straight wins, 26 markers over Justin Morton, who was the winner back at the Martinsville Speedway back on April the 18th. James Lowe, 1 missed race. He is clawing his way back all the way up to the 3rd position, but starting to lose touch a little bit, 60 points back. Brian Dean moves up 1 spot to the 4th position, 84 markers back. And then Donnie Moore completes your top 5. And if you want to keep an eye on those championship contenders, make sure to check out our newest gadget here on the Global SimRacing Channel. That's GSRC.TV. And you can watch not only the race, but also live scoring as it happens on the track, which is a pretty neat tool. Those of you in the short track racing world may be familiar with programs like Race Monitor. And it's essentially Race Monitor for iRacing, which is a pretty cool tool to have. Keeps you very dialed in on what's going on the track. Oh, hey, it's Dale Jr. He's at the wrong track, though. He's supposed to be on the other side. All right, Jeff, pretty unique format we have here for the Bootleg Racing League. This is their 8th of 11 races on this season, just a few weeks to go till the championship. They're going to run 100 laps here, but the biggest trick is no tire changes allowed. This is a bit of an older surface, and they're going to be running up towards the top of the track, so those tires are definitely going to be sweating it out for this one. They are allowed 1 fast repair, but in this series they do not qualify. It is a inversion of the top 8 finishers from the previous race. That's going to put the 31 of Mike Holloway on the pole tonight.
Yeah, and with Mike Holloway starting on the pole, we've seen this guy be really, really fast and really, really consistent. The last couple of weeks he struggled, and it's been much to my surprise. So give him that clean air, let him get out in front, and he might be there at the end.
And if you want to be there at the end of a trip, you can check out our sponsor for the series, the Cruise Shop. They've been in operation since 1986, and they are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation. Give them a call today, 260-755-6125, or visit thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams, one destination at a time. And you heard it from John Hine himself, who's taken advantage of the Cruise Shop. Cruises are going for dirt cheap right now, and perfect time to plan ahead and set up something for once the apocalypse is done.
Yeah, hopefully this all gets settled out and we're back to normal pretty soon. I know a lot of people are tired of being cooped up, and I know I am. I'd be ready to go on a cruise too.
Well, one thing we have been able to do is get some practice in here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Unsurprisingly, J.R. Shepard, Justin Morton, and James Lowe right at the top of the charts. And looks like about a 10th between them right now. So J.R. Shepard doing a pretty good job, but he'll have to start 8th tonight, Jeff. That's a bit of a climb at this track.
Yeah, and passing to him at a premium, especially here early, you're going to have to be patient, let these guys wear their stuff out and let them mess up, because it's almost a slide job for every single pass here. You got to really just dive in, let it slide up, and hope that the guy behind you has enough respect to not run over you. And it's a struggle.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty fair to say you're going to be racing the track as much as you're going to be racing your competitors tonight.
Oh, absolutely. This surface is one of those surfaces, and not having tires is going to be a struggle. These guys do a great job each and every week managing those tires, and it's really going to be put to the test tonight.
Well, with that, we're going to head down to our starting grid here tonight. 100 laps on the docket here at Lucas Oil Raceway in Indianapolis. And starting on the pole tonight is going to be Mike Holloway, as we mentioned, with Donnie Moore to his outside. Brad Speidel will be inside of row 2 with Tim Shinofsky outside of him. Row 3 is going to be Brian Dean and then James Lowe in the 6th position with Justin Morton. And your winner last week, J.R. Shepard, in 8th. Kurt Smith and Todd Liston will complete your top 10.
Heading up the second half of your field is going to be the boss man Lowell Jewell. 12th, Michael Redding. 13th, Matt Shinofsky. 14th, my buddy Austin Belkey. Jeffrey Harden, 15th. Joe Segala, 16th. Bruce Pearson, 17th. Ruben Altice, 18th. Jason Minden, 19th. Robbie Robinson, 20th. And Chris Wolfson finalizes your field tonight in 21st. And Chris, you know, we have all these fans at home. They can watch the live timing and scoring on GSRC.TV.
That's right. It's like you're following along with the race control screen that we're monitoring here, and kind of like what they do up in the booth at the live NASCAR events. So it's a really, really cool tool to check out. It gives you a whole lot of information, probably so much you won't even know what to do with it all.
I know I'm going to be using it quite a bit tonight. A lot of good information.
And looks like Mike Holloway switching car numbers tonight. He's now in car number 2, for those of you scoring at home, as the iRacing pace car pulls off. A little early pitting here at Lucas Oil Raceway. They're going through turns 3 and 4 right now, coming to the exit of the corner. And we're going to see Mike Holloway controls the start. The green flag is out, and he immediately fires off. So Mike Holloway out to a huge gap. That's going to allow the 76 of Brad Speidel to get underneath Donnie Moore. But Donnie Moore up high in the preferred line. It's going to be awfully close as they head down the very short back straightaway. Looks like Speidel's going to have him clear, but Donnie Moore scraping the wall in that number 26 machine. That's going to open the door for the 23 of Brian Dean to try to move to the inside. Once again, remember, these drivers are all going to be fighting to get to the outside line here tonight, a bit different than most tracks. Looks like Holloway may have just scraped the wall a little bit.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see quite a bit of that tonight, especially on these cold tires, until they get some heat in them, and they're not going to want to stick, and it's going to ride right up to the wall. They're going to have to play that hump a little bit better than the next guy.
And we are racing under the lights here at Lucas Oil Raceway, as it looks like Holloway may have rode the wall a little bit there again. That's going to give the lead to Spital. So at nighttime here, it is a bit cooler, so the track will be a little bit quicker. And you see the track temperature 71 degrees and ambient temperature of 68. The humidity's a little bit higher, but nonetheless, this is going to be a pretty cold track tonight, Jeff.
And that's going to help with the tire management quite a bit. You know, cold tires or cold track temp, it doesn't wear those tires quite as bad, and it'll be a not as much of a struggle as we ride here with Brian Dean.
Yeah, Brian Dean working the inside of the 26 of Donnie Moore, which you would think would be an easy move to make, but the real trick here at Lucas Oil Raceway is to be the driver that can make the passes on the inside. The banking is pretty much flat down there. It's really hard to make a pass work, but with the banking more gradual up towards the top, it allows you to carry that momentum on the outside group. But the driver that can make the passes work on the bottom is going to be the driver to succeed. But where that's an issue is the fact that these guys are, I believe, on a fixed setup.
Yeah, and some of the fixed setups here are super tight. I know with these cars, most of the fixed setups are super loose, but I believe this is one with this setup is extra tight, and that gets to be a struggle. You know, you have to be patient. You have to know when to put the power down, because if you put it down too early, you're just going to drive it straight into the wall.
Well, you can see, as has been the case many times this season, Brian Dean clicking off a couple fastest laps here early on. He's one of those drivers that's really quick in the early running, but seems to be tire management does kind of sneak up and bite him, as he's now doing battle with the 99 and James Lowe over that fourth position.
Yeah, patience is pretty much going to be a virtue tonight. If the guy in front of you slips up, you definitely have to be ready to make a move. And I'm seeing these guys kind of run around that third groove, which is interesting, because I don't think that is going to work later in the race. You're not going to have any tires left.
Yeah, they are running a lot more closer to the middle during the corners, and it is a bit odd here as we ride aboard with the 98, excuse me, at J.R. Shepard. He's following behind the 07 at Tim Shinosky, and so far everybody just kind of riding around right now, Jeff.
Yeah, and these guys are back to business as usual as far as not really mixing it up too early and being smart. So it's good to see a lot of clean racing. These guys are awesome when it comes to as far as clean racing is concerned. So absolutely amazing.
Well, things are getting a bit dicey here around 9th, 10th position with Michael Redding, one of the newcomers to the series. His first race was just 1 week ago. He's got his hands full with the 9 of Justin Morton. Morton may have had an issue early on. He's dropped back from his 7th starting position to be running at the very end of the top 10 right now. But him and Redding are putting on a great show right now for that 9th position, and Lowell Jewell and Matt Shinosky, a couple more fast cars, are right there challenging as well. Looks like they might be settling down a little bit, but it was definitely a hornet's nest back there for a minute. Now we can see Brian Dean and James Lowe still duking it out for 4th position. Lowe backed off for a minute, but he is right back on it now, trying to get underneath the 23 of Dean, which is no small task here at this track.
Yeah, there's no small task to getting by anybody on the bottom here. It's going to be a struggle if anybody can do it. We've seen these guys make moves. Shepard and Lowe make moves that most people wouldn't or shouldn't, and they complete them, and they continue to impress me each and every week.
And we've mentioned this is kind of one of those tracks where you race the track just as much as you race your competitors. Brian Dean was doing a great job holding his own, but got into the wall a little bit, broke the momentum, and now he's unfortunately behind the 8 ball, trying to hold off James Lowe. And Lowe is going to actually have him just about clear as they head down the straightaway. He gets loose and tags Lowe. Lowe's in the wall. Looks like everybody checking up, but we all keep it pointed in the right direction, so they'll stay green, but that's going to be a tremendous incident there. Looks like the 23 of Dean is going to be the one that's worse for wear. So potentially some damage on the 23 machine, probably on the 99 as well, but James Lowe at least got away with holding the position. So it looks like a somewhat significant amount of damage on the right front on James Lowe.
And being this track and this setup, I don't believe that damage is going to be too much of an issue for him. There's not a whole lot of aero issues that come with this track, with it being as flat as it is, and the lower speeds and the shorter corners, or shorter straightaways. I bet. And so aero isn't really a factor here. It's more in the horsepower and where you put the power down.
Now, you got to think, if we handed out a bad luck award, as you see the 07 of Tim Szymanski down in the apron, if we handed out a tough luck award for the season in this division, you got to think Brian Dean is probably the top candidate for it. He just seems like every race something just comes up and bites him. Following along here with the 07 of Tim Szymanski, not sure what might be slowing him down, but he's been riding around the very bottom of the track the last couple laps. We'll definitely keep an eye on that. Hopefully he's not afraid of the invisible fire.
And don't say tough and luck in the same sentence too much. We are in Indianapolis.
Oof. Brad Speidel continuing to lead in the 76 machine, keeping a pretty steady gap between himself and Mike Holloway, now in the number 2 car this week. And Donnie Moore has a little bit more breathing room now after the little mix-up between James Lowe and Brian Dean. And of course, as I say that, looks like James Lowe is actually closed in. So we're now going to ride with the 99 and James Lowe, who is just about close enough to see what the 26 had for lunch today.
And after that last incident, it might not be too far away.
And don't look now, but lurking behind those two is the 98 of JR Shepard. Has not made as quick of progress as he is known for. But JR Shepard, one of those drivers that could definitely show up late. Looking for his 4th consecutive win here tonight at Lucas Oil Raceway, but he's got some heavy hitters to get through to get up front and take that win.
Yeah, and these guys are being awful cautious. You know, we're 25 laps, so a quarter away into this race, and look at Speidel checking out. I mean, a second and a half, or full second ahead, and that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, he's actually grown his gap to over half a second from what it was when we first checked in with him just here in the last lap or two. So not sure if Holloway maybe had an issue or if Speidel's been just putting the hammer down, but Brad Speidel is definitely inching away from the field as that battle is still going on for the final podium position between Donnie Moore and James Lowe, as well as JR Shepard in the mix. And looks like they're also closing in on Holloway, so this could be very quickly a 4-car battle for that second position.
And while they're doing battle, this is just allowing Brad Speidel to check out a little bit more. Hopefully he's managing his tires and not burning them off too much. That line is a little bit lower than I'd like to see it for tire conservation, but he might have figured something out. He might have it.
Yeah, that's going to be another thing, is if he's running away from him and putting in all these quick laps this early, is he going to have anything at the end? Keep in mind, this track is 0.686 miles, just under a 3/4 mile, but it's one of the bigger tracks that this series runs on. So this is going to be a longer race as far as distance goes compared to what we normally run. And you got to wonder if that's going to maybe play a role in the tire wear.
Well, looking at his lap times, he's running on pace with guys like Shepard and Lowe. So if he's burning them up, maybe so are Lowe and Shepard. So he might be in good shape.
Yeah, just looking over the timing screen over on GSRC.TV, and looks like James Lowe's doing a pretty, or excuse me, JR Shepard's doing a pretty good job of consistently clocking in some of the fastest laps on the track right now. And of course, as I say that, looking at it, Brad Speitel puts in a tremendous lap. So all these guys up front are just trading fastest laps back and forth and really nailing down who is the quickest guy on the track. It's just about a crapshoot right now.
Yeah, and these guys, we've seen the talent gap day in and or week in and week out. They're so close in talent from front to back, and it's just a matter of who manages their tires well enough that week. And it looks like Brad Speitel's doing a great job this week as he puts down a 22.970.
That's a great point, Jeff. You mentioned how solid the competition is in this series. The record books show J.R. Shepard being pretty dominant, but when you look a little bit deeper in the level of talent in this series, you see these great battles between drivers like James Lowe and Donnie Moore, as we're looking at right now. And these are drivers of all different backgrounds and all different real-world and iRacing experience, and there's just so many different levels of ability here, and they're all pretty top level. So now James Lowe once again trying that inside, and you got to wonder, he's used this move quite a bit, probably the most of anybody on the track. He's the only one that's really been able to get any success out of it in the upper half of this field, but that's got to be just eating away at those tires.
Well, and as much as he's riding right next to Donnie, too, that's going to have a huge effect in the burning of the tires. If he can make that pass and just make it stick, it wouldn't be so bad. But having to ride next to him, he's got to be tearing that right front up.
Yeah, this is a track that I guess you could technically call it progressive banking. It is banked higher at the top than it is the bottom, but it goes from very flat to slightly less flat towards the top, and as such, there's a lot of lateral load on those tires as they go through the bottom portion of those corners. And it's the best way to try to make a pass, but it is not great for the life of those tires. And kind of the story here with the Bootleg Racing League is the fact that tire management is really the key to the race.
Yeah, I like to compare this one a lot to New Hampshire, which is a full mile, but a lot of the characteristics from here carry over to there, and that's just these guys. It's just a little bit tighter turns, and these guys do a great job.
Well, James Lowe has now pleaded the pass on Donnie Moore to run into the runner-up position. However, all these battles have allowed Brad Speitel to break out to over a 3 1/4 second lead. Actually, it's now over 3.5 as they hit that last scoring loop. So a very significant lead for Brad Speitel. And you got to wonder also about the tire and the damage on the 99 of James Lowe. But J.R. Shepard is now up in that top 3 as well. So 2 of our heaviest hitters in this series are now in 2nd and 3rd. And they're going to be coming for that 76 of Speitel.
Yeah, I feel like Brad has to maybe sit back and put the cruise on for a little bit. Let those tires cool off. And if maybe all the damage that he's done in the first half of this race, let that kind of cool off, maybe do a little bit saving there, and then that way he still has some to get back in at the end.
Yeah, I got to agree with you there. I think the smart move would be to maybe cool things down a little bit and work on conservation to get to the end of this one.
Yeah, he's got to remember it's a 100-lap race, not 50. He's doing a great job, though, as we go to P9 and the battle between Shinosky and Dean.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting to see Justin Morton back here. Morton has been one of our top runners. He comes into this race 2nd in the point standings, but it seems like Morton's had a bit of a struggle today as he runs towards the back of the top 10. Actually just outside of the top 10 right now in the 11th position. And Brian Dean has got to be the most frustrated driver on the track. Another race where he was easily one of the quickest cars on the track, and unfortunately thrown a curveball not of his own doing as he works to recover his way through the field. It's been kind of slow movement for him as well.
Yeah, and that's just the product of this racetrack. You know, you got to make the moves when you can, and sometimes they're just not as there as you thought they were.
Yeah, opportunity at Lucas Oil Raceway looks a lot different than it does at many of the other tracks we race at. It's a lot easier to just root somebody out of the groove and get underneath them at some of these other tracks, but it almost seems like when you run that close to the wall, there's not as much room to move somebody out of the way. Like, yeah, they'll hit the wall, they might lose their momentum, but it doesn't seem nearly as detrimental here as it would be, say, at a track where these guys are running primarily on the bottom.
Well, and if you move them out of the groove and they hit that wall, you always got that chance that they hit that skid and they collect you in the process. And then that move you made just damaged your night just as much as theirs.
Well, we got some big news up front. J.R. Shepard has now got around the 99 of James Lowe. Looks like we're going to head over to a replay to get a look at that pass for a second position here. So as we look for the replay, you see James Lowe coming out of turn 4 with JR digging in that bottom groove, and James Lowe just flew a little bit too close to the sun, and those wax wings melted a little bit as the 98 of JR Shepard is able to take advantage and get by.
And that right there was a prime example of what I was just saying. Like, if you hit that wall, you lose that momentum. That gives the guy on the inside or behind you a chance to get around you. You have to be there to make that move.
Exactly, and once again, you're racing the track as much as you're racing your competition. If you go over that edge, unfortunately, it's big consequences, and J.R. Shepard took advantage, and goes to show why he's one of the most consistent drivers in this series, and it doesn't help to be lucky every now and then as well. And got a battle going on with one of our newcomers in this division, Michael Redding, in the 30 car, going to work on the 87 of Todd Liston for that 7th position. Redding able to get underneath him, but he's going to have a tremendous drive off the quarter, and he does. He will get clear and pull up in front of the 87 of Liston, so give 7th spot to Michael Redding in car number 30.
And I'm starting to watch these guys as they're coming through exit of 4. They're getting a little bit loose, and that's going to be some damage on those tires. And I got to hit the rewind real quick and go back to the talent level in this league and how great it is. I had the honor to get to race by one of these guys, Austin Belkey, on Thursday night, and I've watched him every Saturday night for months, and he continues to amaze me. And running right next door to door with him was absolutely awesome. He has so much respect, and it's such a great line. So shout out to Austin Belkey and the talent he has.
Yeah, that's a very fair point. We have just such a great group of drivers in this series. And Brad Speidel is the top of them all right now. Still a 3-second advantage up front. So Speidel doing a great job, looking to pick up his first win in this division of the Bootleg Racing League. But we're about to hit the halfway point here, Jeff. The pay window is going to be opening up shortly, and it looks like that lead might be starting to shrink a little bit.
Yeah, and that was kind of what I was afraid of. You know, Shepard wasn't doing battle too much back there as he was trying to get by those guys. He didn't really have to burn it up as we go back to the battle between Matt Shanowski and Justin Morton. And they are doing battle.
And looks like they've actually got the 23 of Brian Dean in that mix, as well as closing in on the 87 of Todd Liston. So this could end up being the race for that 8th position. And that's going to be an important one. We do have a week off coming up, but in 2 weeks' time, when we're back to action, that 8th position means pole position at Langley Speedway.
Yeah, we know how these guys get after that layoff. They're ready to go.
That's right. Ooh, looks like Shanowski might have gotten up into that safer barrier a little bit. That's going to allow the 9 of Morton to get by. But with Todd Liston right there on the outside as well, Morton's going to be challenging for that position. But Shanowski's still on the outside. They're now 2x2 for those 4 positions. Morton has a slight advantage as they head down that very short back straightaway, but Liston is up in the preferred line. Morton slides up the track a little bit. Liston comes down a little bit, but looks like Morton is just going to have a tremendous drive off of turn 4, and he's going to now move up into that 8th position. So now the
Just a
9.
great job by these guys making those moves and making them cleanly at a track that sometimes it's tough to make those moves.
And there's a battle right up ahead of him as the 19 of Lowell Jewell and the 30 of Michael Redding exchanging spots, and that's going to allow the 9 of Justin Morton to close in. Maybe Justin Morton not having a bad night like we thought. Maybe he was just saving his stuff for the end, Jeff.
Yeah, he does a great job of conserving every week. So we're watching from the rear cam of Lowell Jewell, and he looks like he's almost protecting that inside line, and Morton not able to get a good run as he's going to duck back into line.
Yeah, Morton actually gave up a position there to Brian Dean, who's a driver racing with a purpose tonight. Brian Dean gets right up on the back bumper, the 19 of Lowell Jewell. And Lowell falling back into the clutches of two pretty quick cars there. Lowell's had a very quiet night. I know he's had some adventurous races here in the early part of this season. Not really of his own doing a lot of the time, but he's had a very quiet night, not had too much as far as headaches go, but right now he's about to have his hands full.
And looking at the leaders here, we talked about the lead that Speidel once had being almost a 3.5 second lead. I'm watching the lap times now, and at one point, Speidel was about a half second slower than JR Shepherd. So that just goes to prove how much those fresher tires, and I say fresher, and I mean not burn up tires, help you out.
Yeah, that's a very big fact here. I think we're seeing it here on the screen with that battle as well, as Lowell Jewell may have been fighting earlier on in the race, and unfortunately he's dropping back while these drivers that took it a little bit easier, well, I say easier, Brian Dean did end up duking it out with the 99 of James Lowe at one point. But these drivers that have had the quieter races are now starting to turn the wick up, and they're starting to move towards the front.
And they're ready to go. They're tired of waiting around. It's time to go. Time to go. Time to go. Time to go. With 40 laps to go.
We got to thank the 76 of Brad Speidel, wishing those laps would click off even quicker as his lead continues to shrink with our defending champion and points leader, JR Shepherd, running in his wake, and he'll be unfortunately closing in soon. Shepherd looking to pick up a 4th consecutive win here in the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Division, trying to keep his chance at breaking his own record of 7 straight wins. So we'll see if the 98 of Shepherd has the time and the speed to get it done, or if Brad Speidel will join the record books as the 4th different winner here in the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Division.
Yeah, and looking at these times, once again, Speidel is about 2/10 slower than Shepherd is on the prowl, but will that chase of Speidel burn up those tires that Shepherd has? I think he's doing a great job. We all know how James Lowe and JR Shepherd, how they come through the field each and every week. So it's going to be interesting when he gets there. Is he going to have enough to be able to battle with Speidel?
Yeah, this is really a track that almost seems tailor-made to the type of driving that JR Shepherd is known for. It's a track that really rewards consistency, and he's probably one of the most consistent out there. We talk about him every week because he's always up there towards the front. So it's Brad Speidel now under a second lead over the 98 of JR Shepherd, working on lap number 64 right now, so still roughly 35.5 laps left for these guys.
And look at these guys. Mike Holloway started on the pole. He hasn't wavered and fallen out of the top 5 tonight, so great job with the drive tonight and sticking up front. Hopefully he's still got some here to ride it out at the end.
Yeah, maybe that new car number is what he needed to turn his luck around.
And also, I'm watching Michael Redding come through the field, also being a newer guy to the series. He's been around a little bit, but a newer guy to the Saturday nights, and he's doing a great job of driving up through the field also.
Yeah, Michael Redding Definitely a driver that gave a really good showing of himself last week. Did get caught up in a wreck, but nothing of his own doings. Unfortunately, just a victim of circumstance last week. And looks like he's doing a really solid job tonight. He's had a bit of a cleaner race and is running up just outside of the top 5. As looks like J.R. Shepard is now closed in on your leader, Brad Speidel, and he's looking to make a move.
Yeah, and it's going to be real up to Brad Speidel on whether he's going to fight him, and it just looks like he just might not have it. If Shepard can make that inside line work, he's going to get by him pretty quickly here.
But so far in that first attempt, it did not look like Shepard had the grip down low. And they are also beginning to close in on some more lap traffic. That could be playing a huge role here as well as the 87 of Todd Liston. Ooh, and they almost come together there, Jeff.
Yeah, Speidel's going to have to use that that lap traffic to his advantage and try to set Shepard up for that. Maybe that pass on the underneath and getting clogged up with the lap traffic, and that's about as best as he can be able to do to hold a driving Shepard off.
Well, he's going to do a pretty good job of facing the lapped car right there. It's going to put Shepard as a little bit of a disadvantage. So Shepard not able to get as close as he had the last few corners, and Speidel he'll be clear a little bit sooner, have a better approach into turn number 3 right now, which is going to at least give him a stay of execution, so to speak. And it actually is going to give him a bit of a gap here, a couple tenths now put back up, but J.R. Shepard is closing right back in as we head down that back straightaway. But if you look out that front windshield of the 98 machine, there's just a slew of lapped cars coming up.
Yeah, this lead here is going to come down to who can navigate through that lap traffic the best, and we've seen Shepard do it. We haven't gotten a chance to see Speidel do it nearly as much, but this is going to be the showcase right here.
And as you see, Shepard now pulling alongside the 76, not going to be able to make a move as they head down the straightaway. Speidel has the preferred line, but we'll see if tires make the difference. It does not look to me, Jeff, like J.R. Shepard has the tires underneath him to really grip the track on that inside line.
And I think you're going to see the expertise of Shepard come out here. And when they get to this lap traffic, if he can use that lap traffic as a little bit of a pick, that's going to give him the opportunity to maybe get beside Speidel and be able to get that drive off. But he's going to have to set it up perfectly. And there he gets loose.
Yeah, I was going to say this. We had our doubts about the tires on the 76 when he was putting up that big lead. But maybe it's the 98 of Shepard that maybe gave up the tires a little bit early, which is a bit uncharacteristic, but I guess this is a somewhat uncharacteristic track for most of these drivers.
Well, and I think as he was driving up to Speidel, maybe he used it up a little bit more than he wanted to. And there's a lot of lap traffic up here, so it's going to come down. Again, it's going to come down to who can navigate this traffic the best, and I'm ready. 25 laps to go. Let's go.
We are in the last quarter of this race. Austin Belke tags the wall trying to get out of the way of your leaders. So now it looks like Belke may be moving to the bottom of the track to give the leaders the preferred groove. But we have a battle for position up ahead with the 6 of Kurt Smith and the 44 of Jeffrey Harden. Now Shepard gets to the outside, but is Speidel maybe having some issues? He gave up quite a lot of space there to let the 98 through.
Wow, that was a little bit different of a tactic than I expected. It looks like he's maybe he's struggling a little bit more than we thought here in the latter part of this race, and that's a tough break for Brad Speidel.
So J.R. Shepard now takes over the lead. The 45 of Jason Menda gets into the wall there. But it looks like Shepard, with all this lap traffic, not really able to drive away from Speidel yet. Does actually put up a bit of a gap now, 0.36 seconds, and growing. So
and that may be where Brad is able to pick up a little bit of time, is if Shepard is not able to get back to the top side, he's going to lose a little bit more speed, and Brad should be able to stay the top. And if he can set up the pick, almost basically box JR on the bottom, and get by him. That might be the option too. At this point, who knows?
Well, Speidel able to close back in, sails it off into the corner there, but not really able to make anything happen. Looks like there's a fair amount of these lap cars that seem to have forgotten that when they're trying to make move for the leaders that they're already running at the top of the track.
Yeah, and this is unfortunate for Brad Speidel. I think he burned his stuff up there a little bit too much towards the end. His Shepard's running about a tenth faster a lap, and I just don't think he has much more left for him.
Yeah, looks like he was maybe giving it his all, trying to play defense there, and unfortunately the long-term game worked out for the 98.
Just another slot in the book of where J.R. Shepard just continues to show us that he is a top 3 car in this series, and he shows us each and every week.
But you definitely cannot sell short the run that Brad Speidel has had here tonight. He's a very talented driver and has had a lot of great runs here in the Bootleg Racing League, and did just a tremendous job here out front tonight. And if he's not able to wrest the lead back away from Shepard, he definitely can still hang his hat on this run.
Oh, absolutely a great run by Speidel and Donnie Moore and Mike Holloway.
We got a battle heating up right now for the 11th position. We just saw these guys both get into the wall there not too long ago. This is the battle for the 11th position. Jason Menda trying to get underneath the 00 Matt Shinoski to take over that position. But so far that 00 machine, car number OO, is doing a pretty solid job there.
Yeah, he's doing a great job of holding them off a little bit here in the later run. Oh, he gets a good run. Menda gets a great run on the inside. Just can't finish it, and Lowe is going to come by him on the outside.
Yeah, that's probably one of the more frustrating parts of this track. You can have a great run on entry, pull right up alongside somebody, and then unfortunately that outside momentum will just pull them right back by as they head down the straightaway. And it looks like Kurt Smith now able to get by the 00 machine of Shinoski. He's gotten 2 positions that last lap.
And these guys are still doing a huge battle, even being back here for 10th, 11th, and back in those latter part of the field. But they are doing battle, and it just goes to show that every position counts.
That is for sure. And the 5th place battle is heating up as well, as looks like Mike Holloway is fading a little bit here as the race goes on, and Justin Morton still continuing his march up through the field now, trying to break into the top 5. He did come into the night 2nd in the point standings, and with J.R. Shepard out front, he's going to do everything he can to keep his championship hopes alive, and that means passing as many cars as possible.
Yeah, and Menda does a great job of Menda, my bad. Morton does a great job of managing those tires, and he's coming on here strong at the end. It's going to be a little bit too little too late, unfortunately, but every position is going to count in that championship race.
And I hate to be the guy to bring it up, but we ran 89, or we're on our 89th green flag lap right now. So there's always one of those yellow flags that could come out and change this whole game.
Yeah, but we've come to expect these guys. 100 laps for them is almost nothing to run green flags. As we say that, these guys are just absolutely phenomenal.
That's a very fair point. This is a very solid series here. Justin Morton completing the pass now, so he will be running in that 5th position as we close in on 10 laps to go here momentarily. It's still J.R. Shepard out in front. He now has a 2.25 second gap over Brad Speidel, James Lowe in 3rd, and Donnie Moore hanging out there in 4th. So a very, very strong top 5 right now. Here is J.R. Shepard continuing to put cars a lap down. He's now working on the 30 of Redding, trying to put him one lap down here tonight.
And that is unfortunate for Michael Redding, as he has a strong running. But lucky for him, he's sitting in that transfer or the inversion spot, and he's looking at a pole position for next week or 2 weeks.
That's right. In a smaller track like Langley Speedway, starting up front is definitely going to be a huge benefit. So if Redding's able to maintain that position for the remaining 8 laps of this race, he could be sitting in the catbird seat for our race in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and like you said, with such a small track, the passing is going to be a little tougher. And if he can get out, maybe not as far as Spital did tonight, but if he can get out in front and just kind of cruise for 100 laps, that'd be nice.
And now Brian Dean continuing his recovery march as he now goes to work on Holloway for the 6th position. So Brian Dean once again moving up through the field. He's probably made the most passes on the inside line here of anybody.
And he's done a great job of managing those tires while making those inside passes. As we've seen him even here late in the run be able to make those, and maybe not so much if he'd burn them up.
That's right, and getting into the wall early and getting that little mix-up with James Lowe definitely put a damper on his race, but Brian Dean is just a driver waiting for the right break to come his way. I think he's somebody we'll see in victory lane here in the not-too-distant future. He's consistently one of the fastest guys on the track every week, but just has absolutely no luck.
And as we close out these final 25 laps that Shepard has been leading here, he's pulled out to a 3.5 second lead. That is absolutely amazing. It just goes to show that the tires are everything.
And I think he's got to be pretty close to one of the best in the field as far as tire management goes. He just seems to be able to make passes without using up his stuff more than anybody else. And then once he gets out front, he's able to hit another gear and just drive away.
And we see the difference in night and day. I'm watching the lead here with Shepard, and as he goes by Austin Belke, you could tell where Shepard has all the tires and Belke has nothing left. He's given everything he's got tonight.
And it's not like Shepard started up front and just hung out and everything came to him easy. He had to work for this one. He started 8th again and drove his way up to the front. This is not an easy task at most of the tracks this series races on, but especially a track like Lucas Oil Raceway where passing is so difficult. It's just a huge accomplishment to be able to work your way up like that.
Yeah, and definitely being able to manage the passes and where you make them and how you make them and how quick you make them is going to be huge as we come to the line here. And an absolutely great run by J.R. Shepard as he racks up another win in the BRL tonight.
Right, J.R. Shepard now his 14th career win in the Bootleg Racing League Grand National Division, his 4th consecutive. Brad Spital coming home second, with James Lowe, Donnie Moore, and Justin Morton going to complete the top 5. So a wire-to-wire finish, green-white checker here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Now we are going to take a quick step away here, chance to catch our breath and get our ducks in a row. But don't go anywhere. We're going to show you some of our upcoming races during the break, and we're going to give you our official or unofficial race results and get some interviews with the top 3 drivers. You stay tuned, and we'll be right back here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome back here to virtual Lucas Oil Raceway here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Wrapping things up here on another great event for the Bootleg Racing League. J.R. Shepard laying claim to his 14th overall and 4th consecutive victory as he continues to extend his lead in the championship. Brad Speidel led just a ton of laps, comes up a little bit short there at the end to come home in second. James Lowe finishes out our podium positions. Then you have Donnie Moore and Justin Morton completing a solid top 5 finish for those two drivers, with Mike Holloway fading to 6th after starting on pole. Brian Dean is 7th, with Michael Redding in the pole position for 2 weeks' time. Then we have Kurt Smith in 9th, and Jeffrey Harden completes the top 10.
Yeah, and heading up the back half of this field is Robbie Robinson in 11th, Old Jewel, the Boss Man in 12th. 13th, it's Bruce Pearson, Joe Segal in 14th, Matt Shanowski, Austin Belkey, Todd Liston, Tim Shanowski, Jason Minda, Ruben Ortiz, and Chris Wilson brings her home in 21st tonight.
So another great night of racing. These drivers going wire to wire. I know their tongues are probably hanging out of their mouths right now trying to get oxygen, but we're going to still try to steal an interview here with our 3rd place finisher tonight, James Lowe. James, you kind of got into a little bit of a scuffle there early on, ended up in the wall there after the 23 of Brian Dean and yourself got together, but looks like a pretty good recovery drive.
Yeah, I managed to save it there after getting turned into the wall there, but no harm, no foul. But the car after that was real tight, so I couldn't really drive it the way I wanted to. Before all that, it felt really good, but after it was just a little bit too tight, and I managed to get into the wall a couple more times and allowed those guys to get in front of me. And from there on, it was more about just surviving. And every time I started to tick away at the relative to catch up to them, I'd catch the lap traffic at the wrong times, the wrong spots. But other than that, it was a great race.
Now, with that, a 3rd place finish does pretty good for the championship standings. But next week 2 weeks we're heading to a pretty different track in Langley Speedway. What's your opinions on that one?
I actually really like Langley. It's actually the home track to me, so I go there during normal life on a regular basis. But I like it. It's going to be tight racing, flat track, so we'll see how it goes.
All right. Now, anyone you want to thank to help make tonight possible for you?
Yeah, first and foremost, I want to thank Balls Out Racing for the continued support, Lil Joel for putting all this on, and Cruise Shop for sponsoring the whole deal, and you guys are putting on a great broadcast.
Well, we definitely appreciate that, James. Congratulations on a good run, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, sir.
Now, I believe, Jeff, you've caught up with our winner, J.R. Shepard.
JR, man, another great run tonight. You've done it each and every single week, and we just cannot. You can't be. It seemingly can't be beat. So, how did the car feel tonight as you were battling through eight tough competitors?
Car felt terrible. It was a dump truck for sure tonight in these cars, but at the same time, that's where the racecraft really kicks in. So yeah, the front nose would just wouldn't really push. It was just like it was on top of the track and just slide across the front if you overdrove the entry. So it was really just playing with the brake, playing with the throttle, and being real easy with the car early to save those tires.
And we saw you wrestle this track all the way through the field, and eventually, when you got to Brad Speidel, you were about 3.5 seconds back when you started that drive. How did you feel going into that? Did you really think you could click off that time like that?
Yeah, I knew it was early enough in the race that there was time to get there, and I felt like I was just a hair quicker, so I thought I could get there within, with 10 or 15 laps left in the race and have a shot at it. And I think just the way the traffic worked out, it allowed me to get there a little bit quicker.
He did a great job tonight. We go to Langley in 2 weeks. How do you feel about that?
I like Langley, but it's a tough track also. So um, it's going to be about the entry of the corner, keeping it on the bottom, and making sure you save those front tires and the rear tires, because you're probably going to use the front tires up getting in and the rear tires coming off. So it's going to be a big deal. Really important to pay attention to that.
Well, we look forward to it as we do each and every single week. Before we let you go here, do you have anybody you want to give thanks to?
Yeah, again, just the Bootleg Racing League for allowing us to do this on Saturday nights and have a great place to race, and the Cruise Shop for being a great partner with this league. And give a big shout out to James for coming home third, and Brad for coming home in second. He ran a great race, and I found a way by at the end, but he ran a great race.
We look forward to it, buddy. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, you guys.
Well, with that, we are going to wrap things up here from virtual Indianapolis, Indiana. Do want to give some thanks here as we close things out. Want to thank our sponsor, the Cruise Shop. Once again, you can reach them at 260-755-6125 or thecruiseshopfw.com. Of course, we want to thank the Bootleg Racing League for allowing us to broadcast their events each and every week and put on these great shows for you at home. And I also want to thank the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalone, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Also want to thank the crew today, Jeff, Sean, and Dougie. And if you'd like to find out more about the GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com, or you can check out our social media on Twitter, GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and on Instagram at GSRC_Graham. Don't forget to head on over to our YouTube page and hit that big red subscribe button as well, so that you don't miss a moment here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We are not racing next Saturday. We're going to take the weekend off for the Memorial Day holiday, but we will be back in action Saturday, May 30th, over at the Langley Speedway. Once again, same time, 8:50 p.m. we go live. That is on the eastern part of the world. We also have upcoming races for our series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. And as always, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.